Good afternoon, class. Alright, welcome back. Let's talk about this question right here. It says list all the ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Okay, before we can answer this question, we really have to unpack what it's saying. So we need to talk about what ordered pairs are and what a coordinate plane is. Okay, so a coordinate plane is it's created by two axes, the y-axis and the x-axis, which creates this plane that is basically a flat surface that goes on theoretically forever and ever. The y-axis is the vertical axis, the axis that goes up and down. So think of it as y to the sky. The x-axis is the horizontal axis, and it is the axis that goes left to right. And think of it as x to flex. So when you flex, you stick your arms out to the sides. So the x-axis goes out to the sides. Okay, now when you talk about ordered pairs is a way to designate a point on a coordinate plane. So an ordered pair is going to include a point on the x-axis and a point on the y-axis. So it's going to be an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. And that will tell us an exact spot on the coordinate plane. So this question is saying list all the ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Let's start with A. Okay. Whenever we list an ordered pair, you always list the x-coordinate first, then you list the y-coordinate. Okay. So we're going to start with A, and if you look at A right here, the x-coordinate is 3. So when we write the ordered pair for A, we're going to start with the x-coordinate. We're going to write 3. Okay, and the y-coordinate for A, it's actually, it is between 1 and 2. It is right here. So that's going to be between 1 and 2 is 1.5. Okay. So the ordered pair for coordinate A is 3 and 1.5. 3 being the x-coordinate, y being the 1.5 being the y-coordinate. Alright, let's quickly do B. B is situated right here. Now remember, with these, you always start with the x-coordinate. So, the x-coordinate for B is 1, because this point sits on the x-axis at 1. And the y-coordinate for B is 5. That was an easy one. It was right there on the 5. Okay. For C, C sits right here, and it's on the 3. So come over here. The x-coordinate is 3, and the y-coordinate is between the 8 and the 9 here. So halfway between 8 and 9 coordinates on the y-axis is going to be 8.5, or 8 and 5/10. Okay, now we've got point D. Sits right here, and D is 7 on the x-axis, and it's 8.5 on the y-axis. So we come over here and we say, okay, the ordered pair for D, point D, is 7 and 8 and 5/10. Okay, let's pick a color we haven't used. Well, we used all of them. Okay, So E, the coordinate for E, the x-coordinate is 9. So for E, the x-coordinate is 9, and the y-coordinate sits right on the 5 there. So the ordered pair is 9 and 5. Okay, and last but not least, we've got the f-coordinate. The f-coordinate is sitting here on the 7, and the y-coordinate is at 1.5. Okay, so we have 7 and 1.5. Alright, so that is how you list all the ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Alright, here is our second question. Which ordered pair appears to be located 300 units down and 600 units to the left from point R? Wow! Guys, if you didn't know, this would be a very difficult problem. I'm going to make this problem really simple for you guys. I'm going to explain a few concepts that will help you to understand this. I'm really excited because I think that once y'all finish this video, you're really going to have a good understanding about this. Okay, let's just first start with the idea of, well, if I have this point right here and I want to move it up. Well, if you look over here on the y-axis, as we move up the y-axis, notice what happens to the numbers. It goes from, at the origin is 0 to 600 and to 1200. So as we move a point up, it gets bigger. Okay? Now, if we move a point down, which is what we're doing in this problem, notice that the numbers go from 1200 to 600 to the origin, which is 0. So the numbers are getting smaller. Alright. I think y'all are with me so far. Okay, so if I take this point and I move it to the right, notice that the y-axis stays the same. It's still on this line on the y-axis. Now the x-axis is changing. So if we go from 0 to 600 to 1200, those numbers are getting bigger. So now the x-axis gets bigger. Okay, by the way, let's just add this in, y-axis. And for the green, the y-axis changes, not the x. Okay, and then finally, we'll choose Miss Sorrell's favorite color here. If we move the point to the left, which is what we're doing in this problem, we're moving it 600 units to the left. The y-axis doesn't change, but now look at the x-axis. We're starting over here, going the other way. We're going from 1200 to 600 to 0. Those x-axis numbers are getting smaller and smaller. So if we move that point to the left, the x-axis gets smaller. Okay, so now we have that concept down. We have to look at the actual axis right here. And there is an unusual interval. Notice that on the first grid line for the y-axis that there's nothing labeled. And then the next grid line, the second one, is 600. So we go from the origin is 0, skip 1, and we get to 600. Then we skip another and we get to 1200. There's a pattern going on there. Okay? And this is something that you really have to pay attention to and focus on because this is going to have a huge impact on how we answer this question. So as we go from 0, skip 1 to 600, we're going 600 units in 2 grid lines. See, we have an increase of 600, but we have one grid line and we have the second grid line right here. Okay, so we have to figure out what would this grid line represent. Okay, well, reasonably it would be a number between, exactly between 0 and 600. That is 300. Okay, but if you had to calculate it, you could say, okay, it increases 600, so half of 600 We divide by 2, and 600 divided by 2 equals 300. So if you had to do an equation, that's how you would do it. You would say, okay, well, between 0 and 600, we need to find halfway in between, so we take 600 and divide by 2. Okay, well, if that's 300 and that's 600, then we can reasonably assume that this next grid line is going to be 900, and if you have 300 more, you get 1200. Y'all see that? So if we wanted to label this, even this top grid line right here, we just add 300 more, and we would get 1500. Okay, and the x-axis does the same thing. It's the exact same, in that it skips the first grid line and then goes to 600. Okay, so we're going to come in here and we're going to label this, so that will help us. So 300, 600, 900, and then 1200, and then add 300 more, and we get 1500. Okay, good deal. So the question here, we're back to the question. We are going to be moving 300 units down. Okay, so let's check this out. Here, let's pick a new. Well, we'll go with blue. Well, we'll go with. I gotta pick a color. Pick a color, Mr. Nelson. Who cares? Okay, I'll pick a color. Here we go. We're gonna move 300 units down. Well, from this grid line to this grid line is 300 units. So I can move down right here. It's kind of hard to see. Pick a different color, Mr. Nelson. Okay, I'll pick red. Right. So we move 300 down. Okay, from here to here is 300 units. So you look right here, 900 to 600. That's 300 units down. So I move 300 units down. That's my new spot right now. And then 600 units to the left. Okay, well, 600. Well, I'm right here. What do I do if I'm in between the two? See, I'm in between the two grid lines. I'm in between 900 and 1200. Okay, that's a 300 difference. So what is halfway between 300? You remember how we figured that out? We do 300 halfway between 300, which equals 150. So we are between this spot and this spot is 150 units. So what is 900 plus 150? And that tells us we're at 10. Oh, wrong comma here. Let's back this train up. Okay, 900 plus 150 is 1,050. Okay, so this spot right here is 1,050. Okay. So by the way, if we were to write the ordered pair for spot R, the ordered pair for spot R would be, remember we do x-axis first, so it would be 1,050, and then the x-axis is at 900. So that is the original ordered spot, okay, or ordered pair. So we've moved down to here, okay, and let's pick a new color. Let's go purple here. So we're right here, and we have to move 600 units. Okay, well, if I move from here to here, that's 300 units. Okay, so I move here to here, that's another 300 units. So this to that is going to tell us that's 600 units to the left. So this is our move 600 units to the left, and this is our new final resting spot. It's our new spot altogether. Okay, right here. X marks the spot. So now we have to find the ordered pair for this. Okay, so the ordered pair for this is sitting at 600, but we do the x-axis first, so it is 300, because this line is 300, and we have to go 150 that way. So that would be plus 150, which gives us 450.
Hello.
So, hey, Mr. Ellis, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Say hi to the kids.
Hi, kids. How are you?
Alright, so the new ordered pair, let me just kind of write it over here, is going to be the x-axis, which is 450, and the y-axis, which sits right here at 600. And that's all you have to do to solve that problem. Guys, I cannot wait to see y'all in class. I'm sure you're going to have lots of questions for me. Y'all are super smart, though, and I'm super excited to teach this to you guys. Y'all have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow in class.